Okay, so this quarter we're continuing our UNFPA adolescent girls and child marriage programs. As part of these programs, we have a target to engage different stakeholders because we realize that the issues that confront our adolescent girls, one, they are gender based, and it comes out of the gender inequalities that children are raised with. And so we look at issues of gender equality, the importance to pursue gender equality among different stakeholders. We're also looking at sexual and gender-based violence and how the different stakeholders we engage in can help the department and the ministry to address this issue. We are also looking at child marriage and other harmful practices that impede the progress of our girls and women. And so this quarter, from the first quarter, we've engaged various stakeholders, including parents, we've engaged the children themselves, we've engaged the girls, we've engaged different segments of the community. This quarter, we are looking at men and boys as partners in ending sexual and gender-based violence, child marriage, and harmful practices. So far we have engaged about 130 boys, and it's so interesting the discussions. Most of the boys, you realize, are also in need of engagement about their sexuality. As they develop, some say that they don't have anyone talking to them about their sexuality. And so for them, there are certain practices, certain actions that they take based on their gender perceptions. But then once we begin to engage them, we are able to engage these thoughts and these activities so that the boys can also be empowered to help them do the right thing, refrain from sexual and gender-based violence, and also protect themselves from risky sexual behaviors. We also want to engage the men because you realize that as a region, when you take our record of domestic violence, about 84% is perpetrated against are men. And so it is important that every stakeholder comes on board so that we can all work together to end some of these violations. And then apart from that, as part of our child marriage program, we are also engaging two critical stakeholder groups. We are engaging parents. We have done that at Abra Dunkwao. We have engaged about 80 parents on their role in ending sexual and gender-based violence, child marriage, and harmful practices. Today we have also engaged our traditional authorities and religious leaders on their roles. This, we think, is important because child protection is a collective responsibility, and gender inequalities has a root in our culture and our tradition. Most of the harmful cultural practices that we talk about, FGM, child marriage, harmful widowhood practices, all these things take their roots from our culture and tradition. And so as we begin to engage, we will understand the changing world and the need for us to all come together and modify some of these practices, and also abolish those that we think that are against the fundamental human rights of our women, our girls, our boys, and our men, which is not helping society. When you look at the issue of child marriage, I'll say that the central region is on course. As at 2011, when you look at the multiple indicator cluster survey, it looked like we are the second highest increasing region because we had increased child marriage to 8% from 2006 to 2011. But if you look at the current multiple cluster indicator survey in 2017, the region had dropped from 31.2% to 22%. So we are making gradual progress in the area of child marriage. And I believe that our continuous engagement with the critical stakeholders, especially our parents and community leaders, will help us to further reduce this figure. When you look at domestic violence, we are still very high. We are over 3,400 now. And then significant among this is non-maintenance and also defilement and other forms of violence. I won't say for domestic violence we are going down, but then I'll also say that advocacy has increased awareness. And so a lot of people are aware and are reporting. So you cannot really place it and say that it is going up or it's going down, because advocacy is encouraging people to report these practices instead of keeping it to themselves. When you look at the area of teenage pregnancy as well, I think we are trying, we are doing well. The figures are coming down annually. From 2015, we've been able to move from about 14.9%, and currently we are about 13.3%. And as at 2015, we were recording about 14,500 thereabout. Now we've moved gradually down consistently. We are about 11,000 and over. But then I would say that even if one girl gets pregnant, it's a problem. And so 11,000 is nothing for us to rejoice over or to brag about. And so I believe that although we have seen a decline in teenage pregnancy over the years, we still have a very long way to go as a region. And that is why we continue our engagement with the various stakeholders. I'll say that protecting our girls, our boys, and protecting our women and men, protecting society is a collective responsibility. We must all do our part. Religious leaders must do their part. Traditional authorities must do their part. The children themselves must do their part. Parents have a critical role to play. We all need to do our part. I will encourage our young people. Sex is a serious business. And once you get into it, there are consequences. You will get pregnant, you will get there will be diseases from unprotected sex, and so it will be better if you abstain and focus on your studies, so that one day you will also become the great person you want to become, and not spoil your future by going around doing all sorts of things that will jeopardize your future.